Jake Paul's next venture in the boxing ring was supposed to be against Gervonta Davis, but that got scrapped. And stepping up is Anthony Joshua. So on paper, it gets even worse for Paul, but we will break everything down you need to know about this fight, including what to bet. So stick around for that. Ninja here with Scott Hastings. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button if you could be so kind. Scotty, before we even talk about the betting potential of this event, maybe explain to the folks at home some of the rules that we've got to pay attention to for this one. What's in play here?
Yeah, it's so fascinating because in previous fights for Jake Paul, they were exhibitions, and there was certain unique rule sets where like a winner wouldn't be announced, and even in these exhibition type of fights, we've also seen Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., where there was a knockdown rule. So then we got that glorified sparring match. Of course, that was horrible to watch. Respect to those two gentlemen, of course. This one, unlike all of those ones, this is a pro sanctioned boxing match, 10-ounce gloves, which is great. And then 8-round bout, which is 2 rounds fewer than what Jake Paul, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. They fought for 10. So this is as real as it gets, allegedly at least. It'll go on both guys' records. So should Jake Paul pull off an upset, it's an ugly L on AJ's record should that come to fruition.
And I do want to address that coming up momentarily here, but you throw around the term allegedly, which is fine, I think, in this case. And one of the rumors that have circulated is a quote "go easy" clause in AJ's contract. Have you seen this? Do you believe that to be true?
I mean, I think I would love that contract too when I battle with my wife sometimes over who takes out the garbage. But yeah, go easy clause. Very fast. Like I could believe it. I certainly could believe it. Uh, these guys got to make money, and the Eddie Hearns of the world, they're smart. They know what they're doing, and I don't know. It could be a tough look. Like let's say AJ goes the distance and is pulling back punches. There was allegations of that with the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight as well, where that thing that Jake Paul did after Mike had kind of clipped him a little bit with a hook, and maybe that was a sign of like, hey, calm down, you actually hurt me there. Was that true? And did Mike pull punches against Jake Paul? I think Mike was just like 58 years old and just maybe was a little hesitant compared to the killer that he was when he was 22, 23 years old. So I think it was more of that than a go easy clause. But if there's rumors of that out there, sources are always important. Fascinating though.
Talk to me a little bit about Jake Paul, the boxer. Like I know you're a boxing fan. Jake Paul's 12-1. Do you consider him to be an actual boxer? Like, do you see a skill set or a foundation for a guy that has fight craft here?
Yeah, obviously any guy that puts on the gloves and gets in the ring, they're a boxer. That takes a lot of cojones, especially in the platforms in which he's fought in, like MSG and all these attention and talking smack. No doubt in my mind, he is absolutely a boxer. You can see the development throughout his career of him improving. He's putting in the time, he's putting in the effort, and he's improving. That fight with Julio Cesar Chavez, while it went to the distance, people forget that he fought Canelo back in the day and went the distance. Of course, it was a blank 12-0 sweep for Canelo, and Julio Cesar Chavez didn't exactly look that great, didn't throw a lot of offense. But that's the caliber of fighter that Jake Paul just fought and fought him well, beat him in 8 of 10 rounds. You could argue 9 of 10, but whatever, semantics. What I really liked the progression of Jake Paul in that fight, particular, his last one, was sitting down on his punches a little more. I found early in his career, didn't exactly have the snap to his punches and was more defensive jabs, or when he threw the overhands, like really threw everything into it, and maybe a little swinging for the fences, if you will. I found he set up his strikes a lot more, a couple more 3-4 punch combinations that you see. If you watch a top prospect come up, you'll see those. They'll just stick with a jab because they know they're so much better than the person they're fighting. And as they progress, you'll see 3, 4, 5 combinations and pop, 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 pop. Especially with a cruiserweight, heavyweight guy, you're not seeing 4 punch combinations. So seeing Jake add that in there, I was very impressed, and varying his strikes too. He threw some uppercuts, he threw some hooks. He threw some jabs, like worked the body. He wasn't just he knew he was better than Chavez. Chavez wasn't throwing much back. So he was working a lot of different things like he was a heavy bag. I thought that was impressive.
AJ, he's still in the mix in the heavyweight division. He's 28-4. He's still very well regarded in the division, both by experts and his peers. Does taking this Jake Paul fight tarnish his legacy in any way?
I don't think so. The word legacy is very interesting. Like, what is legacy? Make a ton of money? Check. Become the world champion? Check. You know, AJ is 36 years old now. Olympic gold medalist. How can I forget? Check. What more does AJ need to do at this point in the career? He's going to make, I don't know, 10 plus million on this. Um, I don't see a problem with it. You're going to get North American eyes, which is very important. If you want to talk legacy, he's done it in the UK. He's done it in Saudi Arabia. He's done it overseas. This is the first time. I'll talk about that in a second. Second time North America that he gets seen, but um, not Andy Ruiz. We're fighting Jake Paul, who has a completely different audience. I think it helps his legacy, to be honest. Pending outcome, of course, it could certainly hurt his legacy given if Jake wins or how that fight goes. If it's an easy clause, as you mentioned, like go easy clause, and we pick up on things that he's pulling back on, yeah, then some things could be called into question. But I think, at 36 years old, it is what it is. He might have one big run for him. The Tyson Fury fight looms. Does he get a rematch with Dubois after what happened a year ago? That's what I'm looking for here. But I think, you got to give credit to Jake Paul. He's getting these eyeballs. He's getting the fights. He's on the Netflix, which is another big, I don't know. I think it's good for his legacy.
We'll get your pick in a second, but folks, don't go through a busy sports betting December and holiday season without Prop Professor. And for the holiday season, you can get Prop Professor for 50% off for the first month right now. You can get hundreds of plus EV bets every day, and Prop Professor gives you a real shot at finding long-term profit. You can sort through plays across the NFL, across college football, and plenty more leagues. It has a great arbitrage tool, fantasy optimizer in the mix there as well. Easily the best bang for buck on the market compared to its competition. So you can go ahead and use the promo code SHARK50 at checkout and get 50% off for that first month. So Scotty, as of now, Joshua minus 1,200 and Paul plus 700 on the money line over at DraftKings. Total rounds, interesting. Set at 2.5 with both sides right now at minus 115. I personally find that interesting, but give us something to bet here, Scotty.
Yeah, it's a really tricky fight to bet. Maybe a half unit on the minus 1,200. Play it safe. No, I'm just joking. Total, I think, was set so perfectly. Though the 1.5, I would have pounded the over. Absolute pounded the over. 2.5 is tricky. I look at that AJ versus Francis Ngannou fight, about a year and a half ago, and Francis was out of there in 5 minutes. I would say that Francis is better than Jake Paul, although we almost got that fight. And I do think we're going to get that fight in 2026. So very, very fascinating. I also go back to the last time that AJ was stateside. Of course, that was 2019 when he fought Andy Ruiz, the one and only time he fought in the States. And he had the tremendous upset, gets knocked out by Andy Ruiz. And there's been a lot of that European fighter, English Brit fighter coming to the stateside and underperforming. So I'm going to go with the over 2.5. I'm scared by it, to be honest, but I do think that there's going to be some feeling out process. If AJ is going to make a run in 2026, which I do believe he will, having not fought for a year, I think he's going to try and get a couple rounds in, knock off some of the rust, and then ultimately put Jake away, fourth round, midway through the fight. That kind of makes sense to me. Certainly could put him away in the first round. Would not be shocked at all. I also thought the fight to go the distance at plus 350. I know I'm going against myself. I thought that line was short. I would have put that line at plus 500, maybe even plus 550, assuming AJ was going to get out of Jake. So I do wonder if the odds makers are trying to tell us something. Maybe they have the go easy clause. Maybe they put in the go easy clause for us. It's just a little fascinating that the minus 400 for AJ to win by knockout and then you get a plus 350 on the fight to go distance. A little fishy to me. So I'm going to go with the over 2.5. I know it's not that sexy, minus 115. I think that's the only way you can play it. If you could be bullish on the under there, but I think there is something to this fight going a couple more rounds, and Jake Paul strategically taking AJ. There's probably some conversations. There's probably a go easy clause, and we won't be we would be all fools for betting the under, and then seeing punches being pulled, a little more dancing, and then we get in the fourth round and see AJ actually put his foot down.